Hey everybody, John from the Crafting Brothers here. Quick question for you. Does this seem like a ridiculous amount of dice to have for your D&D game? I'm just asking. Send me your comments. I don't know. I don't play D&D. Greg does. He says that he likes to collect these because they're all different and some are cool looking. So I accepted that answer. I could see how these could be collectible. And so that inspired my build this week, which is a cool little dice box for your table. This would be a cool little showpiece for your table, and you could actually just take the lid off and have all of your dice inside here. Now, if you're like me and you don't play D&D, you may have a different use for this box, such as storing your illegal drugs or your weed. It's a perfect stash box depending on what your needs are. I'm just kidding. This is oregano, and these are just vitamins. So that's the build this week. We're gonna build a cool looking castle themed dice box for your D&D game. Let's get right to it. Got all my pieces of XPS foam cut out. These are 1/2-inch pieces. I've cut them in half, and then I've obviously cut a 45-degree angle on all of the corners. So I've got my bottom section and my top section ready to glue together. Okay, so these are both glued together, and if there's a little glue coming out of here, it's no big deal because we're going to cover those up anyway. So I'm going to start cutting some Dollar Tree foam here, and the reason is that this Dollar Tree foam takes pattern rollers much better than this XPS foam. So that is the only reason why I'm using the Dollar Tree foam on top of it. So I need about a 5-inch piece. So these are going to go over the top of this, like so. Okay, and you can go ahead and peel the foam off one side. Going through my little 3D printed stamps, I want this one. The cool thing about these is that the edges line up, so when you're making your brick pattern and moving the stamp around, they all match up, which is another reason I love these stamps. Okay, so I'm going to use a hammer. Watch your fingers. And these patterns match up right next to each other, so be careful when you put them back on. You want them to match up. Lately, I've been using my soldering iron wrapped with tin foil to put texture on the foam, but I decided to go back to the tin foil ball technique here. So after removing the paper from the back of the Dollar Tree foam, the game plan here is to glue all 4 of these pieces on top of the XPS foam. The reason I did this is because the Dollar Tree foam takes these texture stamps much better, so I decided to go with this technique. We're making sort of like a castle type of a top here, which is actually going to be the lid. So what I need to do is put the top part on this, and it's going to go something like this. We'll get this top part up here, and then we'll make it look like this part right here. Next, I'm cutting out embrasures to create the top portion of the castle wall. I need to make a platform which will become the lid on this dice box, so I cut out these half-inch strips to glue around the edges. We're going to actually put some brickwork on all of the corners here to hide this detail right there, so we'll be working on that next. I finished this piece yesterday. It took a little bit of time. As you saw, I glued these 4 pieces together with a 45-degree angle, and I've actually gone in after I made the imprints with a pen and just deepened some of the lines in here, which just, you don't have to do that, but it makes it look a lot better in the end. To finish this off, we'll be putting some little slate pieces on top of these and on the cutout parts here. Then I made this base piece here, which is going to be the platform on top here, and it's just 1 piece of Dollar Tree foam, and then I just put a trim around it right here to set this part in. Okay, so those are going to go together. That's going to go up on top here. Okay, so I've got 2 strips here that I cut. You can see they're nice and thin. I didn't want to use the Dollar Tree foam here because I think it would just look a little too bulky. So we're going to cut these pieces for the tops of the castle top here. And let's start doing that. I actually forgot to texture roll these, so they're already cut into little pieces, but I'm going to go back and just add a little texture on them because I do want them to look like slate, pieces of slate. Okay, that's done. Perfect. Now I'm going to put the pieces, cut some more pieces for these shelves right here. That's next. Okay, so it's time to get these pieces in between, and since they're all a little bit different, these gaps are slightly different, I'm just going to do these one at a time. And I'm just going to fit my piece in there and just go ahead and manually cut it off. Okay, and then I'll glue that on. I had all of these pre-textured bricks that I had left over from other projects, so I'm going to use these for the corner detail on this dice box. And also, these are a bit long, so I'm going to end up breaking off the end piece here. So what I want to accomplish here is I want to smooth the edges of this here. I want to sort of bevel this top edge down. If you can see that edge, I kind of want it to look like that. It's time to give all these pieces a coating of Mod Podge with black paint, and you can see one of our students here decided that Mod Podge was spelled incorrectly. They think it's spelled Mod Podge, so we'll just go with that. So I got my 3D printer going here, and I found this cool file on Thingiverse, which is where I get a lot of my 3D files. I'm just going to paint these up. They need a coat of Mod Podge first, and then we'll do all the metallic paint. You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, it would be better to spray paint these. So I've got some black primer paint. I'm going to do that instead. I put a primer flat black paint on these cannons here, and I'm ready to paint them up. And it's going to be a combination of metallic paint or gunmetal on the main barrel, and then I'm going to do a brass or bronze on the ends. Next step here is to paint everything with a coat of pewter gray. I'm going to use a different color scheme for the stones on the corners to give some contrast, so I'm going to use a beige paint here. time for our first dry brush. I'm going to take the top here. This is all dry. And I'm going to dry brush with a granite gray. After everything is dry brushed, I'm going to go ahead and apply my Liquitex Black Wash, which has a little bit of brown in it. I found these cool looking lion statues on Thingiverse.com, and I thought these would be perfect for the top of this castle dice box. I am ready to line the inside of this dice box here, and what I'm going to use is this kind of velvety material. It's like a thin leather, it's nice and soft, and that will just be a nice finishing touch to the inside of the box here. To do this, I just need to cut out some cardstock and then use some adhesive spray to glue on the material. So this process is pretty straightforward. All we need to do is get our adhesive spray, and you're just going to want to get kind of a thin coat on there. Okay, and then when it's good to go, you want to leave about maybe a 1/4 inch of border on each side. Go ahead and stick that down. Okay, and the key to making this work is to, on the corners, you're just going to kind of cut it like this because we're going to be folding this material over. Okay, now we're going to bring our paper back in. And make sure you don't put it on any wet glue areas, because it will just mess up your material. Okay, so now I'm just going to spray a little bit of adhesive. So then all you have to do here is just fold over the material on each side. And there you go. Now we're going to be lining this box with felt. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this project. Please feel free to send me your comments, and we will be seeing you next week with another build or challenge. Bye for now.